Hi and welcome to The Scoop. Mike Eldon is a published author, columnist, IT specialist and management consultant who has made his home in Kenya since 1977. An incident happened in Somalia in 1993 where Dan, your son, a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, someone I'd seen growing up, was killed with 3 other journalists in Somalia by a mob. It changed us, but obviously nowhere near as much as it changed you as a father. I mean, how did Dan's death affect you?
Looking back on it, people were surprised and I was surprised that I was able to handle it, you might say, as well as I did. Because it's a terrible thing to lose a child. Dan was 22 at the time, and a wonderful young man, a close friend of mine. And so to lose him was extraordinary. We knew he was in a high-risk situation, but of course we never imagined that he wouldn't survive it, because he was so charming and streetwise. And
I mean, he left behind an enormous body, a large body of work. How was it going through all of that material? I mean, someone had to sift through everything that was left behind. And did you know about all the stuff that he was doing?
You know, for the last 2-3 years of his life, he was living with me in my house in Nairobi. And I knew he was spending a lot of time on these journals of his, which became the subject of this book, which is photographs from the journals.
You've taken this leadership and the depot to countries around the continent. What sort of an impact do you think that it's making? I mean, how important is leadership to the future of this continent?
You know, leadership is timeless and universal, and it's as important here as elsewhere. And there are so many wonderful leaders around the continent that I've worked with. But our challenge is always, as not only in Africa, the politicians, because they play a different game. It's much more difficult to get people to work together because you're always working against an opposition.
The show's called The Scoop, Mike. I need to ask you, give me the scoop on
The
Mike
scoop.
Eldon. Mike, thank you very much for being on the show. I really hope you enjoyed it.